second year with the Dodgers, is the switch-hitting center fielder Mike Scioscia back of the plate. The third baseman is Jeff Hamilton, who has taken over on an everyday basis. Alfredo Griffin, who came from the A's in the offseason, the shortstop. And there is Hershiser, who set the Mets down in the top of the first inning. And that Dodger lineup will face this man, Dwight Doc Gooden. 18-9, 3.19 ERA. What about Dwight Gooden? Let's get the inside pitch on him from Mike Schmidt.
Doc Gooden, there are no secrets about Doc. He throws 95 miles an hour throughout the whole ball game, from the first inning to the last. He's got a great curveball. It's important that he gets it over early in the count, because in pressure situations now, hitters can hit fastballs no matter how hard they are. I like for him to be able to get that curveball over when he's behind in the count to hitters like Gibson and Marshall. That's going to be a big key. Also, he's not good at holding runners on base. The Dodgers will be able to run on him at will. This could be important if it's a close ball game. Doc's a fair fielder and a pretty good hitter.
And I think one of the key things Mike said is that he's easy to run on, and the Dodgers, I am sure, will try to exploit every opportunity, not only against Gooden, but in this entire series. And here's the perfect man to exploit it, Steve Sax, who could very much be the key to Dodgers' success. A lot of people talk about Gibson and Marshall, but it may come down to Sax getting on base.
Yeah, with 42 steals, it's important that he does that.
And he begins with a base hit. And you can almost go to the bank on it. I think the Dodgers will try to send the Mets a very early message here by running right away with Sax at first base and nobody out, and Stubbs coming up.
Well, great high fastball hitter Steve Sax, and when he's at his best, he hits the ball the other way, back up the middle or to right field. Ben Hines, the hitting instructor, says he has to not hit around the ball. He has to get his hands out in front. He did. Single to right field.
If what you say is true, Al, then if you're Gary Carter, the way to combat their running a lot is to pitch out early. So if the Dodgers are going to show the Mets that they're going to run a lot, if Carter pitches out, that could thwart the stolen base attempt.
And an interesting situation right off the bat. Stubbs at the plate, and Gooden sends Sax back to the bag.
Of course, another way is to try to get rid of the ball a little bit more quickly. That is something that Doc Gooden does not do. They tried 67 stolen base attempts against him this year. They were successful 56 times. You can see by that graphic.
Sax becomes doubling important on the base paths, because another part of the Dodgers' speed would be Kirk Gibson, but you wonder about Gibson and how much he can run in this series with his leg. Gooden has already gone there twice, and Sax stays as the pitch misses for a ball. 1-0 the count. Stubbs is not your ideal number 2 hitter. The Dodgers are really bereft of a classic number 2 hitter. They've had guys in and out of that spot all season long.
If he could run a little more, Mike Scioscia would be the ideal guy, because he's a contact hitter.
The next pitch is a strike, and the count is 1-1.
So you have Scioscia, who's a contact hitter, batting 6th, and Franklin Stubbs, who doesn't make a lot of contact, but doesn't clog up the bases in front of Gibson. So that's the best choice. So thinks Tommy Lasorda.
Sax bluffs going, and off-speed pitch misses. Ball 2. 2-1 the count.
I think Tommy's probably thinking along the lines. Here's a left-handed hitter. We have the first base hole. We'll take advantage of a full hitter. But as you said, this man strikes out a lot of times. Not a contact hitter. If they didn't platoon, Mitch Hatcher would be a great second hitter, being able to hit behind the runner.
Good move to first base and a close play. Takes the bag right out of its moorings.
Well, Timmy talked about pitching out. Well, another way to do it is, of course, try the pickoff attempt. Sax leaning, as we said, 42 steals on the year, trying to get that extra little bit of lean. Great angle. Now, I don't know if that was Hernandez's glove or Sax's momentum.
Gooden going to first base for the 4th time in this week sequence. 2-1 the count. Sax at first base, nobody out, no score, bottom of the first inning.
The Dodgers really serve their purpose whether he runs or not. Already Gooden's worrying too much about Sax.
There he goes. The 2-1 pitch is high. The throw to second, not close.
Well, two things. By throwing to first base, your concentration is lacking. You're not worried about the guy with the bat in his hand. It's 3-1 now to a dangerous fastball hitter. And Sachs has stolen second base.
Easily.
Yeah.
And the 3-1 to Stubbs. He tries to bunt his way on and misses. Strike two, 3-2.
I can understand the intent there to get Sachs to third base, but here's a 3-1 count. You want to hammer that ball. You don't get too many cripples off Doc Gooden, and you want to take advantage of it. You don't want to bunt it. Even though the theory and principle is to get 1 or 2 runs early because Hershiser's been pitching so well.
I would have to think he did that on his own.
Oh, yeah.
3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. So Stubbs strikes out with Sachs at second base, and with 1 out, here comes Kirk Gibson.
Well, we talked about the fastball. Just tails away, and that's the reason I think Gooden is so overpowering, or can be overpowering, is because of the movement on the fastball, not to mention the velocity. And again, Stubbs, a strikeout hitter, goes for a bad pitch.
You could tell, excuse me, Jim, you could tell how much movement was on that pitch by the way Carter caught it. He caught the ball in the heel of the glove. On plate to 10 inches after the 1968 season.
Bob Ojeda, with his left hand encased, and most of you know the story, a hedge trimming accident nearly severing the middle finger of his left. That's his pitching hand. And we wish Bobby all the best in his recovery, and he hopes to be back by spring training.
I think one of Bobby's main concerns now is where to put the wedding band. He's going to be married October 29th, and his ring finger is going to be in a cast.
Carter takes a strike, and the count is 0-1.
It's been that kind of year. 10-13, a great ERA, 288.
Won 3-1-0 ball games. 5 shutouts for Bobby this year.
1-1, and they might miss him in this series because the Dodgers are suspect against left-handers. We're going to see Sid Fernandez in Game 4 on Saturday in New York. When we might have seen Ojeda.
26-27 against games that left-handers have started this year.
Little squibber up the line, and even Carter can beat this one out. With a guy like Carter at the plate, your third baseman can play very deep, and if you're going to hit one of those, it's easy.
Gary with that devious smile right there.
Well, he's been struggling all year, and right here he goes out and tries to pull a ball, which is what Hershiser wants him to do, but he wants them to hit it a little bit harder. He's going to appreciate even Carter could beat that out. Those catchers don't like those kind of phrases from broadcasters.
He looked like Flojo touching first base, didn't it?
His version of Flojo.
Breaking the tape.
He looked more like Hojo touching first base. Here's Backman. No, actually, Hojo is a 30-30 man. We really can't make that comparison.
Flojo to Hojo in 2 days, right?
Absolutely. Low for a ball in the count. 1-0 on Wally Backman. Backman, an interesting case. He starts the season on the bench after platooning with Tim Tuffle the last couple of years. Tuffle wins the job outright, but gets hurt. Backman gets a chance to play. And now Wally back in there, and Wally had a good season at 303, a real good year. And he bunts up the line. Hamilton fields, throws to first just in time. Backman bunting as much for a base hit as to get the man over. He accomplishes the movement of Carter to second and gets credit for the sacrifice as well. One away.
Well, the Mets' best bunter. You can see why right here. I mean, he is bunting for a base hit, but watch him run outside the line. He should have been out even if this throw would hit him. But Hamilton takes care of that with a strong throw, easily gets him. You have to run inside that 45-foot line. Franklin Stubb, who's 9 errors in the last 23 games, makes a nice play on this ball. Good throw.
Now Dwight Gooden, who can swing the bat. Career average is 181. 2 career home runs. 0-1.
The amazing thing about the entire Met pitching staff is that they don't strike out that much. I mean, Batting average is not that good, but he makes contact. When you make contact as a pitcher, you have a chance. And this is how you get a string of scoreless innings going. When you get guys in scoring positions, you make quality pitches with good stuff. Hershiser has done that.
Carter at second, 1 out, 1-0 Dodgers. We're in the third inning. And it's 0-2. Hershiser figures to pitch 3 times if this series goes 7. You can count on him going Saturday in Game 4, but not Gooden. Gooden would get only 2 starts in a 7-game series. The Dodgers tomorrow night go with a rookie Tim Belcher, and then they hope to bring John Tudor back in Game 3 Saturday.
The only possible exception is if the Dodgers are up 3-0, then Tim Leary, it would seem, would start on Saturday, and you'd save a fresh Hershiser for Sunday. And Tommy Lasorda certainly hopes that's the case at Shea.
Breaking pitch got him.
Another reason why this game is so important, it gives Tommy a little bit more latitude. Center fielder, another look at what Mike Schmidt said, that great curveball, and that's great even to a non-pitcher. But right here, not only does you can see the break, but you can see where the ball is. Mike Scioscia reaches out right on the corner. Quality pitch, great tight spin on a good curveball.
So 2 down as Gooden goes back to the dugout, and the top of the order now Mookie Wilson, who lined out to Marshall and right in the first inning. Mookie, switch hitter, has a left-handed batter this year, .311, and for Wilson, he's the senior Met in point of continuous service. He made his big league debut in 1980 in this ballpark against the Dodgers, and he's up in a situation in which he's excelled this year. 1-0.
I think that's one of the reasons he excelled, is that he's a little bit more disciplined. One of these guys that a couple of years ago only 18 walks and 628 at bats. Excuse me, 628 at bats. This year only 28 walks, but only 320 some at bats. So he's a little bit more disciplined, and when you see the ball well, you can lay off pitches outside the strike zone.
1-1 the count.
The danger pitch to Mookie Wilson is the breaking ball down and in. That's his long ball from the left side or from the right side. And Scioscia talking to Hershiser right now. They obviously know that. And I wouldn't think that you're going to get a breaking ball to hit if you're Mookie Wilson. Here's the fastball, and he about throws it by him. Mookie fouling that ball back. Well, look at the action on that pitch.
Also look at the eye contact when Wilson, who's hitting 32 out of the last 36, I mean, right on that ball. But again, the movement will sometimes make you have a good swing but still get it result in a foul ball.
2-1.
Now, it's funny, in this string, Hershiser said, you know, this is not a physical string. It's something that Don Drysdale touched on in the pregame show. He said, this is mental. I get in tough situations, I want to be there, and I can make quality pitches. Certainly did it to Gooden, who's got a real hitter up there now.
He shook off something.
And a breaking pitch is left into right for a base hit. Marshall comes up with it. They will hold Carter at third as the throw comes in. Well, with a faster base runner, the Mets would have had a run. Perlaza went all the way down the line and took a look at it and figured he'd be better off holding him at third, and it was the right choice.
There's that breaking ball we were talking about, and Mookie hits it hard into right field. And because of that, because he hit it so crisply, Carter's got to stop at third base. No way to challenge anybody with an average arm, and Mike Marshall has a better than average arm as a right fielder.
And also Wilson without a lid.
The only groove I really feel I'm in is a very good mental discipline groove, that I know what it takes mentally to get it accomplished on the mound. I don't know that I'm going to go out there and accomplish it, but I know what state of mind I need to be in. I know that I can't allow myself to get too animated out there. I know I got to really bear down and think pitch for pitch. Don't think about results, think about execution. And if I can think about just executing sinkers away, executing curveballs in the dirt, executing the ball up and in to knock a batter down, then I've got I'm putting myself in the best chance to win the game and to get the guys out.
in a groove on the mound. He's not necessarily in a groove at the plate. He had the worst average of his career this year at 129. Up until this season, he'd done very well. It lowered his average under the 200 mark career-wise to 194.
But the important thing is those 19 sacrifice punts. They're leading the league or tying for the league along with Rick Russell. And that's part of being a National League pitcher. All over, we've seen him make some nice plays tonight, getting the guy over when you have to, and especially on this type of offense. Not a lot of runs to work with.
And it's 2-1 as he leads off in the bottom of the third, to be followed by Sachs and Stubbs.
It's interesting. He says, I look like a guy that would like to read books. I don't. I look like a guy that got straight A's, and I'm academically ineligible my first year in college. Looks like a wimp, but he says, I think I'm strong for my body composition.
I think he's proven that he is no wimp.
I know that. Now, this is what he said about himself. I'm not calling him a wimp.
Looks
Not
like
with that sinker.
Looks like a man of average means, and he's a multimillionaire, or will be soon. How'd you like to have to work his arbitration case?
Well, I think he's looking forward to it.
He's had a couple of battles in recent years with the Dodgers. 3-2 pitches high, so he's on. And obviously the last thing that Dwight Gooden wants to do, walk the leadoff man and the pitcher to Booth.
Take a look. Dwight, of course, is trying to throw it right down the middle. Well, he throws it down the middle, but it just lets it go too high for ball 4. I mean, that's one of those situations. Pitcher after you just try to hit the catcher right in the glove. He wasn't able to do that.
So now Sachs comes to the plate. Johnson looking over his infield alignment. He has to move Jeffries in close at third to protect against the bunt. For the moment, Hernandez is playing back of Hershiser at first base, right behind him. And Sachs up there bluffing a bunt, and then to swing takes a strike. Joey Amalfitano flashing the signs from third. Sachs hot through August. He actually started the season real cold, then got hot, and then slumped toward the end.
What that bunt did, or the fake bunt, was move Hernandez now in front of Hershiser. He's not really holding Orel on. He's playing, as you can see, about a step off the line. But the reason he's in front of the runner is in case Sachs bunts toward first, he wants to be in position.
And Sachs up there to swing away, takes low and outside, 1-1.
Well, that's a smart pitch by Gary Carter and Dwight Gooden, where you don't know a guy's going to be bunting. A curveball sometimes a good way to find out. Did throw it for a ball, but looked like Sachs was trying to swing away, at least on that pitch.
Hershiser, who walked only once all season, is at first base. And this time Sachs squares and takes a strike, and the count 1-2.
To that first hit in the first inning was on a fastball. Gooden doesn't want him to get that same pitch to hit now. Throws him a good curveball to run the count to 1-2.
I'll tell you one thing. You got to watch Hershiser. He has attempted to steal second 5 times, 3 successfully in his career. He'll run.
And he looks like he's going to go, but he stays, and it's grounded foul. Still 1-2.
He was leaning right then, and now Hernandez is going to talk to Gooden and tell him about Orel, saying maybe throw over here one time to keep him honest. But he was leaning. This guy's a total athlete. Of course, you're seeing that on both sides. Gooden, the consummate athlete, and Hershiser, good hockey player. It's amazing that he was picked on the 17th round. 416 players were chosen before Hershiser.
2-2. And he was hit by it. So Sachs gets grazed by a pitch, and Gooden in a jam in the third inning, walking the pitcher and grazing Sachs.
Something you said earlier, you said sometimes how you get there is the important thing. He wants to come inside, and he does. Looks like it grazes his forearm. Wow. Probably go away with a curveball on the next pitch, but unable to do that with Sachs going down to first base.
That's some replay to prove that point. In the NFL, upon further review, yes, he was hit by the pitch. Send him down there.
The Mets do not have the rotation play where the third baseman comes in, but Hernandez cheats so much toward home. It's tough for him to do now because you don't know whether Stubbs is bunting or not.
First and second, and nobody out, and Stubbs up there to bunt. Bunts, foul, and the count is 0-1.
See, Hernandez was frozen then because you've got a left-handed pull hitter up there, so Hernandez can't cheat toward home like he normally does when a right-handed hitter is batting. So he's got to more or less maintain his position. This is a very difficult play for Hernandez and the Mets because Stubbs has third base or first base to bunt it toward.
Stubbs doesn't bunt a lot. During the regular season, he had 2 sacrifices. 2 on, nobody out. And again, he lays one down, but foul again, and the count is 0-2. And the crowd, and they have been on Stubbs because he sort of looks as if he plays in a lackadaisical fashion. Gets on his case again.
Which Tommy didn't look very happy, but one of the strengths of being a good manager, of course, is knowing the strengths of your player. And I doubt if Stubbs is a very good bunter. We saw that the first inning when he tried to get the runner from second to third. Excuse me, the second inning. You can see the career average right now, so maybe he'd like to bunt, but I think with 2 strikes, we're obviously going to see him swing away here.
He's only sacrificed twice this year.
No balls, 2 strikes the count. Hernandez now goes back to normal depth. And he's up there to bunt again and takes outside. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I don't understand that. If you're up there with 2 strikes, I mean, here's the second place hitter, a power hitter. I don't know whether he did it on his own on the 3-1 count the first time up with Sachs at second base.
I just think that's a sign, too.
Yeah, I think that bunt with 2 strikes is a bad play, especially unless it's a pitcher. Got a number 2 hitter with a lot of power.
1-2, he swings away and down he goes. So Stubbs strikes out for the second time. Gooden has 2 strikeouts in both instances, Franklin, and it brings up Kirk Gibson. Gorgeous shot, sunset in Southern California. And a look back into Dodger Stadium, about a mile from downtown Los Angeles. Temperature in the 70s. And all is well in the City of Angels at the moment because their Dodgers lead 1-0 in the third. Gibson grounded out in the first inning. At Carter's feet. 1-0. Hershiser at second base. Sachs is at first.
Gives you a pretty good idea of the movement on Gooden's fastball. Carter was checking his glove because he thought he caught the ball and almost missed it. Almost went right by him. Important statistic here. Gibson only 8 times that he grounded a double play. It'll be interesting to see if he hits a ground ball, how he'll run with that bad knee.
1-1. Gibson was hurt a lot down the stretch. They rested him after clinching the division title. Then he tried to play on Friday night and went all out, as he put it, for 6 innings. And then he couldn't play Saturday or Sunday. But he told the reporters yesterday, hey, it's a non-story. I'll be in there. Bank on it. 2-1. Got the corner.
Well, Gibson has struck out 19 times, as you saw, out of 36 at bats So I don't imagine with Hershiser at second base, as you see the fastball just get the corner, I don't imagine Tommy Lasorda will send the runners here.
He doesn't, and Gibson strikes out on a breaking pitch, low and in on him.
So Gooden does what Hershiser has done. 3-2. Doesn't matter what the count is. You don't know what's coming. And it appeared that Gibson was, totally full. Looking fastball. Normally in that situation, you try to look for the ball, but it's tough to do that off of Gooden.
So 2 down. You never know with Gibson in the dugout after he strikes out. That's about as mild a reaction as you'll ever see from him. Marshall swings and misses. 0-1.
There are times when you go back to the dugout and you know you've been overmatched. And there's times you go back as a hitter and you say, gee, I should have hit that pitch. I don't think that was one of those cases. It's not like he got a good pitch to hit and missed it.
On 2 fastballs to Mike Marshall.
The base hit to score the run in the first inning was a fastball out over the plate. So if Marshall, who is a strikeout type of hitter, this year one of the few years under 100 with 97, some years 137 strikeouts, his weakness is up and in. That and the curveball in the dirt, which is something we talked about. High and tight, low and away.
Chased it. Down he goes, and Dwight Gooden strikes out the side in the 3rd. To the 4th we go, 1-0 LA. Second and nobody out, and there was Tom Lasorda's reaction to Marshall striking out as Gooden strikes out the side. Stubbs, Gibson, and Marshall.
You're talking about execution in one of the
Scoring series, or figures to be, and that's just the way we begin tonight.
I think tonight is going to be just like this microcosm of the way the rest of the series is going to be.
I think so too. I'll agree. I'll go along with that.
Well, you've got 2 pitching staffs that each wound up with a collective ERA of under 3, and they finished first and second as you look down from the Goodyear Blimp Columbia, and the lights are taking full effect now at Dodger Stadium. Dusk in Southern California. And as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, Dodgers on top 1-0. And John Shelby swings and misses. He'll be followed by Scioscia and Hamilton.
Well, I know there's one Dodger sitting over on the bench. That's Tim Belcher, who'll pitch tomorrow night, that is rooting for a Dodger win tonight. A little bit easier to go out there when you're relaxed.
Well, I think the point you made at the top is well taken, Jim, in terms of the regular season. If the Dodgers lose tonight with Hershiser pitching, they've got to go back and say, man, that's 11 out of 12. But if they win, they totally forget about being 1-10.
Of course, on the other hand, we really do go back to '86 when Mike Scott, the Cy Young Award winner, Hershiser this year as the possible Cy Young Award winner. You figure not to get a lot of runs against those guys if you're talking about the Mets. And they got to figure out, well, maybe we'll lose to Hershiser, but we better win 4 times before we have to face him 3 times in this series. That means if they can win before they go 7, they got a good chance.
Shelby hits a fly ball to right field, and Strawberry gets underneath it. And to the Darrell chant makes the catch. 1 away. Gooden struck the side out in the 3rd inning. He has 4 in 3 1/3 as he gets set to face Scioscia here in the bottom of the 4th. But as most of you know who follow the game, graphically we can illustrate how his strikeout rate per 9 innings has decreased. And since his rookie year, hits per 9 innings have increased. In there for a strike in the count 0-1. And there it is again. And of course he had that spectacular season in 1985 after breaking in with a splash as a rookie, and everybody keeps expecting him to live up to that.
Well, that's like the barometer they're always going to judge him on. I mean, you go back to 24-4, 153 ERA. I mean, that was a classic year. Very close to what Gibson did when you caught him back in 1968 with a 112 ERA.
Down goes Scioscia, and Mike wants to know if it was a strike. And I think Harry Wendelstedt answered in the affirmative.
Yes, especially after you swung at it. It looked like the curveball was low. As you take another look at this curveball, 2 strikes, you will expand the strike zone, especially with a great curveball. Watch this ball go down.
Well, Harry was being nice to him. He said he would have called that a called strike.
Jimmy mentioned Bob Gibson, and it was Gibson's comment after that season.
Gooden locked up 1-0 LA as Gooden leads off. And there is Dwight's record during the regular season in his career, an astonishing 91-35 as he takes a strike, leading off here in the 6th. But in postseason play, a whole other story. 2 of those losses in the World Series in '86, the other in the playoffs.
Very deceptive, too, because in the 1986 playoffs, he lost 1-0 on the Glenn Davis home run to Mike Scott, and then he locked up with Nolan Ryan. First time he went over 9 innings, as a matter of fact.
He strikes out here, and again, he's in a situation a la '86, pitching very well, but somebody's pitching a little bit better. 1 gone.
Of course, that's what you gear yourself up for when you pitch against an Orel Hershiser. You know that there's a possibility of a Steve Sachs getting a leadoff base hit. You know he's most likely going to run. But sometimes you just can't keep the guys that you want off the bases, really not off them. And this guy is, I mean, a marvelous streak. This is a marvelous pitcher right there in Dwight Gooden. A tremendous admiration through what he went through last year, and it seems like he's got himself back on the right track.
Mookie Wilson hits a bouncer to short, and Alfredo Griffin's closing out. 2 down.
You know, Orel Hershiser says when they hit ground balls to Alfredo, I don't even look. He says, I know he's going to make the plays. And I'm sure if he went up to Alfredo and said, do you like playing behind Orel Hershiser, he would say yes, because he pitches quickly. He's around the plate. I can be on my toes. He's not going into a lot of full counts. I don't believe he has one tonight yet. Good pitcher to play behind if you're a defensive infielder or outfielder.
Greg Jeffries at the plate. Jeffries is a kid who grew up in Northern California in San Mateo. It's about a 20-minute drive from Candlestick Park. He hated the Giants. He loved the Dodgers. He grew up as a Dodger fan. He told me yesterday his father and he used to fly down here as they take care of a beach ball in right field. They'd come down and watch the Dodgers, and he idolized Ron Say. And he said when he was in the 5th and 6th grade, he would turn in papers to his teachers, and he would sign his name Greg Say Jeffries, C-E-Y. And so here he is coming to Dodger Stadium, playing third for the Mets. And he grounds one by where Say used to play into left field for a base hit. So Jeffries with a single, 2 out here in the 6th inning. That's his 2nd hit. 2 of the 4 hits off Hershiser, and Hernandez comes up.
The last time Jeffries made an out, it was a sinker low and away. He tried to pull it. He grounded back to Hershiser. He got an identical pitch, the sinker low and away, and he rifles it to left field.
Fast learner.
Yes, sir. It's funny, Jeffries growing up right down the road, as you said, from Candlestick, where Say Hay used to make some hay. Number 24, Willie Mays.
Also where Keith Hernandez is very close proximity. Both don't wear batting gloves. He's got batting gloves on now, but not at the plate.
And he rips one into center field for a base hit, and Jeffries, without hesitating, goes to third. So with 2 out, the Mets threaten here in the 6th inning. And it's the first time tonight, make it the 2nd time tonight, they've gotten a man to third base. They stranded Carter there in the 3rd inning.
Right fielder, Darryl Strawberry.
No doubt in Jeffries' mind he was going all the way.
Well, with 2 outs, you have to make sure going to third base. But with Shelby going to his left, he's got too much to do to turn around and throw it to third base.
Headline, Darryl as a Dodger. Ross Newhan of the Times talks about Strawberry. Darryl contending he'd like to play with the Dodgers after 1990, and he talked about it before the game.
Well, it's always a dream that, any kid, when you're growing up and, being in your own hometown, coming back, like I said, for the National League Championship play, and then knowing that you might have an opportunity when your years are up with the organization that you're with, And if the opportunity's right and it's fitted for me, then you make the decisions then. But, you know, you're not trying to make any decisions at this particular point.
Are you necessarily closing the door on the Mets in the far distant future?
No, I'm not at all. I've had a long relationship in New York, and it's been outstanding. I feel good about it. But there's been a lot of rough times, too, there. And, you know, you just say to yourself, when it comes to that time, are you ready to make a decision whether you're going to play here or you're going to play there? So I really haven't came to any point in my mind right now, but I'm still thinking, considering that L.A. would be one of my favorite places to play.
The Darryl Strawberry story, which is a bit of a cause celeb today, in for a strike, though others have poo-pooed it, saying, well, he's been talking like that for a while, and he did say that he had talked about it with Ross Newhand 3 or 4 weeks ago. And, of course, the story was prominently displayed today. And, Tim, you've been traveling with the Mets all season. What about the timing of something like that? Does that have any effect on the team?
Well, I don't think it has any effect on the team, because I think the team understands Darryl now. I mean, think about the beginning of the season. The Esquire article came out, written by Mike Lupica, where Darryl eventually denied that he had said all those things back in January, and it went over the 1987 season. And the team as a whole, I think, was slightly miffed as a group. And I don't really think. I think you're talking to Lee Mazzilli today was pretty poignant, and Lee kind of spoke for the club.
2-2 to Gibson is outside. I asked Lee about it before the game, and he's been around and he has seen it all. And he said, you know, I read the article and I kept saying, well, he couldn't have said that. I read the next paragraph, he couldn't have said. Then he said, yeah, well, that's Darryl. I guess that's Darryl. We come to expect it, and it really wouldn't have an effect on a team, even with the timing on the eve of the league championship series.
No.
Gibson goes down on strikes. And Dwight Gooden doing a pretty good 1985 imitation tonight with 8 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings.
Well, what sets up this total freeze by Kirk Gibson is the way he got there. He threw him some curveballs early in the count. He's looking for the ball, can't pull the trigger. Right there, he wants to swing. Great pitch, outside corner, 90-plus fastball. Carter just throws it to the third baseman.
1 out, and Mike Marshall at the plate. 0-1. Just to follow up on that Strawberry thing for a second. He's talking about Eric Davis, and he, in their own words, getting together, which of course would be almost collusion in reverse if two guys said, hey, we're going to both go to one team or attempt to do something like that. Fouled away, so somebody ought to remind Darryl of that in a hurry.
Of course, you
and
can
Eric.
also imagine how he said it, you know, kind of wistfully thinking that he'd like to be reunited with Eric Davis. And then, but that, you know, you said Darryl's Darryl, and he is immature in some respects. He's matured as a player. Seems like most of his bats are quality, but he does say things that I'm sure he regrets. This was one of them.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Marshall. Got him. Again, that's 9 strikeouts. Marshall gone twice on strikes. And it will bring up Shelby.
Excuse me, this does not look like the guys whose tune-up last week in Philadelphia was 5-inning pitch, 10 hits, and 7 runs.
The most earned runs he'd given up all season, but he wasn't making pitches like this.
No. In fact, Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach here in New York, who's done a fabulous job. Talk about emulating a guy. Mel, great pitcher, great hard worker. Talked about how poor that mound was in Philadelphia. They'd put it in after a football game. Very flat, almost throwing uphill. That's not the case here. There's Mel. 20-game winner 3 or 4 times. All-around pitcher.
Shelby with a typical Shelby-type swing on a breaking pitch, and the count 1-1. Gooden has 9 strikeouts, and he's right on the verge of a 10th because Shelby struck out 128 times this year, had the highest rate in the National League. 1-2.
And if you're wondering why the fastball could freeze you, it's at 96 miles per hour on the last 2 strikeouts.
He has not given up a hit since the first inning. The Dodgers 2 opposite field singles. That's it. 2-2. There's David Cone, the 20-game winner, 20-3 to the mound tomorrow night against rookie Tim Belcher. 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Half swing, down he goes. 10 strikeouts for Dwight Gooden after 6. Dodgers 1, Mets nothing. Back in Los Angeles after this word from your local station.
The Ohio State.
Much of 1-0 here of the Mets in the top of the 8th.
Well, he walks Dykstra, but then he makes the great pitch to sinker away. As I said, he doesn't even have to worry about when the ball's hit the Griffin. He turns 2, and you're on the bench. Think Tommy's happy? Just what I told you to do. Throw that sinker away and throw those grounders.
And back to what we said at the beginning, a far more important game tonight for the Dodgers to win than the Mets. The Mets go back and say, okay, we lose to Hershiser. We're down 1-0. It's still a long enough series. We've beaten these guys 10 out of 11 in the regular season, but had the Dodgers gone down to defeat, a whole other story. 2-0 LA. Bottom of the 8th inning is Sachs. Starts with a grounder to short. Corralled by Johnson. One away. Randy Myers is the new pitcher. Len Dykstra stays in the game. There's Myers. He'll hit in Mookie Wilson's spot. Terrific year with a 1.72 ERA. And Dykstra stays in the game. Lenny hits in the number 9 spot with Gooden out of the game. So Sachs taken care of for the first out here in the 8th. And batting for Stubbs with the lefty now on the mound will be Tracy Woodson, who can play third or first. One of the Dodgers' stuntmen. That's what the fellas on the bench are known as.
Yeah, they said that stuntmen are anonymous when they make movies. That's what we are, but we certainly did have a great part in getting him here to the playoffs.
Strike, 0-1.
This is a smart move. When you look at the two guys that we're most likely going to see throughout this playoff series, as regular first baseman, you're looking at Mickey Hatcher and Franklin Stubbs, but Woodson, a much better defensive first baseman than Hatcher, so he's in there for his offense now and defense in the bottom of the 9th, or excuse me, the top of the 9th.
Hernandez down the line, and he makes the catch in foul territory for the second out. When the Mets come up in the top of the 9th inning now, it'll be Jeffries, Hernandez, and Strawberry. So they're very much where they'd like to be, 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Dave Johnson, who guided this team to the World Series title in 1986, finishing his 5th year, and again over 90 games once more, this time an even 100.
The only National League manager to ever do that, win over 90 or more games his first 5 years. The American League manager to do it was Al Lopez. He did it back in the early 50s during the 154 game schedule, which was probably even a greater achievement back then.
Two guys from Florida, Johnson and Lopez. Gibson tries to bunt his way on in the count. 0-1, hamstring problem and all. Still trying to bunt for a base hit.
I think that's a bad play. I mean, you can pop the ball out of the ballpark. Gibson has more home runs against left-handed pitching than he does against right-handed pitching. 2 out, nobody on. He's trying to bunt his way on. That's leaving it up to the next guy.
And you also may aggravate your hamstring.
Yeah. I think that's a bad play.
Of course, it also says something about Randy Myers' ability. 95-mile-per-hour fastball and a great slider.
Well, that's true, but I mean, by
I
bunting,
understand what you're saying. I agree with you.
Shot. You don't want to, not that Kirk is the type of give-up player by any means, but I just think it's a bad technical play to be bunting with 2 out, nobody on. If you pop 1 out, you lengthen the lead.
And he loops that one in foul territory toward the dugout. Here comes Jeffries. Look out into the Dodger dugout. He makes the catch and is cradled by Woodson. And the last time we saw that, George Brett was sliding into the dugout in St. Louis in the 1985 World Series, and he's fine. So a very anxious moment, but another look right now at Jeffries. What a catch.
You notice the Dodgers aren't helping him at all, because if they go up to try to help him and he drops the ball, then Gibson's out. Gibson's out anyway because Greg holds on to the ball.
2-0 as we go to the 9th.
McDonald's presents future Olympic.
Carver, 9th inning of Game 1, 2-0 Los Angeles. And Jeffries to lead off for the Mets, taking outside. That's the 91st pitch thrown by Hershiser. This is almost a dreamlike game for Lasorda and the Dodgers to this point. On the verge of a victory and a pretty low pitch count, but Jeffries whacks it into center field for a base hit. And we say a dreamlike thing for Lasorda to this point, because what he'd like to do is bring Hershiser back on 3 days rest. Saturday. But now he's got another thing to worry about, namely the ball game. Leadoff man on 3 hits for Jeffries tonight.
That ball rifled by him, and how about that? A rookie's first game. He probably feels like Steve Sachs back in 1981. Played in the World Series and the playoffs, and then was Rookie of the Year in '82. The outfielder's being reminded now to throw the ball to second base as the Mets had their rally caps on, and they need it.
And here's Hernandez, and you can see with Jeffries at first base, Woodson, who is the new first baseman for the Dodgers, can take the liberty of playing behind him. The tying run at the plate, and he's going to go and exploit it, and it's hit down to Woodson, who makes the play at first base. So he was playing behind him, and Jeffries figured, why not go to second?
Jeffries is off the bag, Al. Pardon me. He thought it was a line drive. He wanders off the bag.
For the moment, he's a lucky guy right now.
Wow.
Well, they're lucky in a couple of respects. That's a double play ball if he's not going, but then again, he almost gets himself out. Right now, he needs to pick up one of the coaches. They're going to give him some help. Alfredo's not going to do it.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's a line drive now. Alfredo is waving, and now he's missed that the throw wasn't made in time.
I'll tell you what, he'll learn a lesson, and he didn't get burned by doing it. Next time you pick up a coach.
You don't ask the opposing,
No.
you don't ask the opposing players. They rarely tell the truth.
Oh, yeah. Especially if they're from the Dominican Republic. And you don't speak the same. Maybe Alfredo does speak English, but not in that case.
He thought for the moment he was doubled off at first base on a line drive. So 1 out. Here's Strawberry. 1-0 the count.
Boy, this is a tough situation for Hershiser because I think he realizes, and Jeffries is a good example, when he gets the ball in the middle of the plate, doesn't make the good pitches, the ball gets hit hard. We've seen that numerous occasions. When he makes good pitches, he can get guys out. But also, this is the tying run at home plate here. Not the winning run, but the tying run. A guy that hit 39 home runs. You want to make great pitches, but can he do it?
He threw breaking balls behind in the count his last at bat. We'll see if he does it again.
The 1-0 pitch is a fastball for a strike. 1-1.
Of course, if you're a pitcher, you always know who's on deck. If you take a look at Jamie Hershiser, Oral's wife, but if you're a pitcher, you know who's on deck. Next guy just hit 29 home runs with 99 RBIs. So you don't pitch around Strawberry in this case.
McReynolds waiting next. Jeffries at second with 1 out of the 9th inning.
Last time up, Darrell did get Hershiser in a really a hitter situation, but swung at a 2-1 curveball.
Low. 2-1.
How do you relieve a guy that's now pitched, what, 68 in the third straight scoreless inning, or excuse me, 66 in his third? 67, pardon me. That's all I can't add.
2-2.
Strawberry, a very anxious hitter. And if I'm Hershiser, I'm thinking about going out of the strike zone to get him out right now. That curveball, if you remember, when Hershiser was talking earlier to you, Al, earlier this afternoon, he was talking about the curveball out of the strike zone down. It's a good time for it right now.
And Scioscia's going to visit the mound right now with a very important pitch.
You know, that's a better thing to do than to just go through the whole series of signs, because the worst thing as a pitcher is to have to get the pitch you want, but to shake off 2 or 3 signs to get there. Go out there, ask him, do it in a hurry. You know, ask him how he's feeling, too. That might make a lot to do with what he calls.
The Darrell chant mocking version reverberates through Dodger Stadium with the count 2-2.
The Mets bench literally trying to turn the game around.
And Lasorda ready to reach for the antacid.
strike. This could be the series of the dueling antacid managers.
Right. And these guys won division titles. What about the other guys? 2-2 on Strawberry. Reached for it, fouls it off.
We talked many times about what counts due to a pitcher's psyche. You don't want to go 3-2. 2-2 is a lot better count because if you do miss, you still have an option. 3-2, you feel like with the situation of the tying run at home plate, the winning run on deck, maybe you have to throw a strike. That's not a good idea when the guys hit 39 home runs. You'd like to get Strawberry out, as you said, out of the strike zone.
Line into right center for a base hit. That will score a run. The Dodger outfield very deep, and Strawberry will take advantage by sliding into second with a double. So Jeffries comes in to score to make it 2-1, and the tying run is now at second base. And the Dodger infield, or outfield, backs up with Strawberry at the plate. And as Shelby surrounded it, Strawberry is able to take the extra base.
I'll tell you, in fairness to the Dodger outfielders, you're playing back to prevent the double, but because they were back, that caused the double. Because Shelby had to range too far to his left, and once Strawberry saw that momentary bobble, boom, he's into second base. Not even close.
And now, with a tying run at second, the Dodgers sending Perinoski to the mound. They're also going to put Jose Gonzalez in the game in left field in what could be a double switch, with McReynolds coming up. Again, the ball bobbled, and Hershiser's going to come out of the game, and the ovation for Orel. The right-hand hitting McReynolds coming up to the bullpen for right-hander Jay Howell as the Mets score. Hershiser masterful tonight, but turns it over now to Jay Howell in his first year with the Dodgers. Here's the inside pitch from Mike Schmidt.
For me, Jay Howell might be the toughest right-handed closer in the league. And it's because he's what we call effectively wild. He could come in and throw the ball anywhere at any time and then paint the outside corner on you 2 or 3 pitches in a row and strike you out. His favorite pitch is his hard curve, but what he must do is come into the game and establish that he can throw strikes with that 90+ mile-an-hour fastball so that he can go to that curveball and strike the hitter out. Jay's a good fielder. One thing you want to watch, though, is he doesn't hold runners on that well. He's got a big kick going to home plate. That could work to his disadvantage. He's going to be easy to steal on.
And he has Darryl Strawberry as the tying run at second base. It wouldn't figure that Strawberry would try to steal third, but you never know.
But he can. I mean, he has 29 steals on the year, but I don't think he's a great base runner, but he has great speed.
It's a good time to steal third. With 1 out, you get on third base and score on something other than a hit.
Of course, if he gets thrown out, it's the story of the game. Pitches outside. Hershiser yields his first run since the 30th of August. Meanwhile, Jay Howell has not allowed a hit since the 29th of August. There's Jose Gonzalez in left field on the double switch. But Howell, in his last 7 appearances through the month of September, did not give up a hit. And McReynolds fouls it off to the right out of play. 1-1. And the Dodgers during the offseason, their first priority, get somebody to come out of the bullpen to close it out. And they got 2 guys. They got Orozco, who, as it turns out now, is more of a left-handed specialist. and Howell, who is the true closer.
And that he is. After elbow surgery, there was some doubt, but he's come back. 70 strikeouts in 65 innings, so he is overpowering.
Two and one. The sort of barking at Wendelstedt wanted that pitch. And Hershiser can just sit and wait.
So we said McReynolds, in a great year, 288, 29 home runs, 99 RBIs. Al, the type of guy that can throw the ball in his pal out over the plate and still get him out.
In the dirt, 3-1.
Good play by Socha. Mike did not go after that ball like he should go after it, but he went after it with his glove and fortunately made the play. A very, very good play by Socha. On the breaking ball, you're anticipating it being in the dirt, so you can easily get your body in front of it. Never subscribe to that theory you can get your body in front of a fastball because it's up there too quickly. Good play by Socha.
3-1 to McReynolds, ball 4. Tying run and go-ahead run on base. And now Howard Johnson comes up.
Shortstop, Howard Johnson.
And it's fastball pitcher against fastball hitter here.
Not only that, Howard Johnson batting 182 from the right side and 250 from the left side. There again, we get back to the better pitcher is Jay Howell. Tommy Lasorda playing the hot hand regardless of which way Johnson has his power.
Because the point is well taken here. If Orozco was a true closer in the sense that Howell is right now, you'd bring in Orozco and turn Johnson around right-handed. But he entrusts Howell with the game with 1 out and 2 on in the 9th inning. And he struts him with a breaking pitch, 5-0-1.
Of course, the Mets are a team in postseason play. They've gone in the 9th inning trailing 13 times. They've come back and won those games 4 out of those 13 times, which doesn't seem much. I mean, it's like 30% of the time, but the rest of the percentage is down under like 10%. So
that's a lot when you compare them to the Dodgers, I'll tell you that.
Off speed for a strike, 1-1.
In the history of postseason play, the Dodgers have come back when they were trailing in the 8th inning 1 time in 61 games. So the Mets are 4-9. The Dodgers are 1-60.
1 ball and 1 strike. Ran it in on him. He's thrown him 3 off-speed pitches. Throws him a breaking ball here on the hands, and it's 1-2.
Well, scouting is such an important part. I mean, you play against this team, maybe not as important as it is during the World Series, but it's obvious that Jay Howell would like to get Howard Johnson out with the curveball or the breaking ball.
I have never thought about this, but Jay Howell looks like Steve Howe. He looks like a right-handed Steve Howe.
And since the days of Steve Howe, the Dodgers have searched and searched for somebody to close out ball games. So just add a pair of L's, turn them around from the right side, and the 1-2 pitch is another breaking ball, and Johnson just gets a piece of it.
Well, that's 4 in a row. As you look at 4 breaking balls in a row, now that's great. This is his weakness. See from that graphic, he's a good 9th inning hitter. Most of them probably came on either hanging breaking balls. This ball is about belt high. Now, you throw a guy 4 in a row and make a mistake, the chances of him hitting it are a lot greater, but Al's strength is high, good hard fastball and a good sharp breaking curveball. Usually don't hang a curveball like that and get away with it. The tighter the spin, the better chance of doing it.
Got him on a curve. So a fastball pitcher against a fastball hitter, and he never throws a fastball.
Oh, Mike Schmidt hit the nail on the head. Look where his head is on this curveball. Now he's seen this is the 5th in a row. Can't keep that shoulder in. Can't, and that's what it all is.
He can, though.
Yeah. For obvious reasons.
So now Carter comes to the plate. The Mets with a tying and go-ahead runs at first and second, and both are great base runners. Strawberry with his great speed at second, and McReynolds, who stole 21 bases this season without being caught, is at first. And Davy Johnson looks on as Carter gets ready to come to the plate after Socha confers with Howell.
You could understand why the outfield was deep with Strawberry hitting. I can't understand why the outfield is this deep with Gary Carter hitting. They're playing deep because they're defending against the Gary Carter of 5 years ago and his reputation, not this year.
Curve again, 0-1. The hook again.
It's only 7 in a row. What did Mike say? He's got to come in and establish his curveball. I think he has.
Line to center field, and with the outfield deep, Shelby can't make the catch as Strawberry comes in to score, and McReynolds is being waved in the throw to Socha. Socha blocks the plate, but without the ball, and McReynolds is saved. And with the Dodger outfield deep for Carter, it costs him, as Shelby just falls short of coming up with it.
Second baseman.
3-2 Mets.
I'll tell you, when a pitcher and a catcher conspire to keep the good part off the good part of the bat off the ball, it doesn't do any good if your outfielders don't cooperate. Watch this collision between Kevin McReynolds and Mike Socha. Man, that's a big league collision right there.
Socha's great strength is blocking the plate, but you know, they've gotten so pansy about protecting middle infielders. I just can't believe that you can allow a catcher to stand up the line like that without the ball.
Backman swinging and missing. Here's Johnson's reaction, and again, Tim pointed it out before the play. The outfield was playing Carter's reputation, not the present-day Carter. The count, and it's fouled at the plate. Now the Dodgers, down by a run and looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth inning, have Marshall, Shelby, and Socha due up. Carter at second, 2 down, 0-2 the count. And a breaking pitch is hit down to Sachs. And the inning is over, but the Mets get 3. And at the end of 8.5, it's the Mets 3 and the Dodgers 2.
For deep this evening.
So the Mets on top by a score of 3-2, down to their last strike, and then this off Carter's bat.
Well, the tying and winning or go-ahead run, John Shelby with a great effort out center field, but here where he makes a mistake, he hesitates. Now you'll see the throw. Socha up the line, blocking the plate without the ball, which is one of his strengths, as I said. But Kevin McReynolds, I'll tell you what, we got linebacker versus linebacker.
Oh, man.
You don't get in his way. Yes.
And Carter's reaction in the dugout.
When a catcher's in the baseline like that, that's the only thing a runner can do. You can't slide out of the baseline. If you notice, Socha was straddling the line, and McReynolds' only alternative was to ram right into him, and that's what he did.
And so the Mets with 3, and now the Dodgers with Marshall, Shelby, and Socha due up against Myers in the bottom of the ninth inning. And the Mets make a change. They moved Kevin Elster in at shortstop. And there he is, taking over for Howard Johnson, and he's right into the game, catching a line drive for the out. One pitch and one out in the ninth inning. And now John Shelby coming up.
Well, Davey Johnson with his defensive alignment. This is the lineup he will most likely use with Ron Darling pitches on Friday. We talked about it earlier. And I mean, what you said about the Dodgers in 61 postseason play have only come back one time.
One time.
That shows you what they've done. This would be the 5th time, so they're 50 percentile. And they hold on to win.
That one time was one of the most famous games in baseball history when Cookie Lavagetto not only won the game in the '47 World Series, but broke up Bill Bevan's no-hit bid. And that was the one. It was a pretty good one. Oh, and 2 on Shelby.
Well, John, a natural right-handed hitter, hit more home runs from the left side this time, but I think he's a much better hitter this way. Doesn't get to hit as much. More right-handed pitchers in the league than left-handers. Very dangerous from this side.
And he grounds it down a second, and Backman will throw him out. And Dempsey will come up to bat for Scioscia.
I'll tell you, Randy Myers, in going over to first base, almost ran into Hernandez. Hernandez didn't realize how close he was. It shocked Keith. But Keith's the one guy that Myers will turn to in late-inning situations. He expects Hernandez to come over and tell him after every pitcher, after every hitter. Watch Myers. Now, you're going to the right side. Now, watch Myers. He almost runs into Hernandez. The three, the runner, Myers, and Hernandez almost converge, and Keith turns around and says, what are you doing over here?
Well, something we pointed out many times during the Monday night games is how important Keith Hernandez is, and when he was out for, what, 6-7 weeks with a hamstring pull, they missed that. He's like having a pitching coach in your infield. What should I throw? I mean, here's a guy that used to won a batting championship, MVP.
Rick Dempsey now swinging and missing in the count 0-1. So there's the MVP of the 1983 World Series, playing with Baltimore against Philadelphia, fighting for a backup job. In the spring, he won it, and he, in essence, has been platooned with Scioscia. And he bats for Mike here. And this game, and as the ninth inning started, I said this was a dream for Tom Lasorda. 2-0 lead. Hershiser in the 90s in pitching, bring them back on 3 days, and that dream has now gone to a terrible nightmare with 2 out of the ninth inning. And a fly ball to shallow right field, and Backman backs up and gives the Mets a 1-0 lead in the series. The Mets come up with 3 in the ninth after they were down to their last strike and shocked the Dodgers. And now they don't have to worry about Hershiser until at least Saturday. Mets win it by a score of 3-2, and we'll be back in a moment.